Welcome back to Citizen Sleeper. You can see I'm on the hub here of Erlin's Eye. You can see the greenway off in the distance, where we're going to be going fairly soon, I hope. But right now, we've got a new ship in dock up at what's her name's house? Bliss's house. The Sycamore Seed. So there's quite a lot of stuff here to do. Sacrifice section. Vent a section and you'll have a better chance of saving the remaining crops. You'll lose some in the process. The question is how many. We've got this thing, fragile biome if we fail, which is not so good, but I can do a definite one there. And then reinforced bulkheads. This is slightly more safe. Welding in a 0G farm is tricky. The torch, the heat, the sealant, everything can damage the crop you are trying to save. Fragile biome. The Sycamore Seed's internal biome is in trouble. Every action will bring it closer to collapse. Saving the crop. The Sycamore Seed needs to be reinforced and sealed, otherwise the crop will be lost. Well, let's put our guaranteed one here. We'll sacrifice the section and we don't risk triggering the fragile biome counter. Oh, I just had a lovely cup of coffee with my lunch. And a pasty. Oh, so we still triggered some fragile biome by doing that. Oh, heck. Alright. So let's... this one is safe. Even if we get a negative one, we still work towards saving the crop. Cool. Oh, it still advances the fragile biome, but I think we'll outpace it on the saving the crop counter. So that's fine. And then let's re-roll this one. Nice. There we go. Alright, so we'll have to come back and do the rest of that tomorrow. Did we get money for that? No, we didn't. Of course not. We're working for Bliss. Of course we didn't. So far she's paid us nothing and we've paid her 100 cryo. Okay. If you buy crackers and put them out, the stray will always come. That doesn't mean they like you, though. They are a cat, after all. I think we'll just... I think we'll use the stabiliser here, because I feel like the next few sections I'm going to need a lot of dice. And let's end the cycle. I don't need much more money to get another stabiliser, so I'm feeling pretty safe on that score. Alright. These aren't great. Let's go back up to the hub. Go work on the Sycamore Seed. Okay, so I'm going to chance it with this 3er. Cool. Okay, so we've done it. Very nice. You and Bliss are floating in the bay's airlock, waiting for it to cycle. You pick a few leaves from your clothes as you wait. They float around the chamber as if carried by a lazy wind. I can say clean work or stay silent. I'm going to say clean work. Bliss bows a little. Well, thank you, Sleeper. You didn't do so bad yourself. She checks her tool belt. Seems like we're getting into a good rhythm. The now familiar sequence of clunks and rattles sound out, and then the door hisses open. The moment it does, you know something has once again gone wrong. Oh, man. It feels very altruistic working for Bliss. What's all this? Bliss asks a confused-looking Moritz. Beside him are a set of crates anchored to the bay floor. He's clearly just brought them in through the bay's freight lock. Moritz looks nervously between the two of you before answering. It's payment. He runs a hand along the crate. The Sycamore Sea crew just brought them over. He stops, but seeing the look on Bliss's face, adds, They were very thankful. I bet they were. She clenches her fist. What the hell is inside? Moritz leans over and struggles with the catches on each side of the top crate. As he does, Bliss turns to you. Don't say it. Bliss stares into space. Don't you dare say it. I don't know what she thinks I'm going to say, but I will not say it, whatever it is. Don't. She gives you a hard look. This isn't my fault. Moritz finally gets the catches free and the lid floats off, drifting up into the bay. As it does, a small brown lump floats up with it. Moritz reaches out and catches it as it passes him. Is that a mushroom? Bliss finishes. A damn mushroom. They paid us in mushrooms. Not just mushrooms. He holds out a clump of tightly packed leaves. Produce. Bliss starts laughing. Goddamn Haifa commune. Should have known they didn't have a chit to rub between them. She knocks a small brown mushroom across the bay. Stop, Bliss. Moritz grabs her hand. These are good. Fresh. We can sell them. To who, Moritz? Are we running a grocer's now? We need cryo, otherwise this whole bay will be shut down. We can't pay for parts with leafy greens. She waggles them in Moritz's face. I can use them, I'll tell them. Bliss raises an eyebrow. What, 4 whole crates? You can't even you can't be that hungry. You can take a few, but the rest will sell. She smiles to herself. Or at least Moritz will sell them, if he's so eager. Moritz closes up the crates and starts moving them. It isn't that bad, Bliss. It's a step in the right direction. He glances at you, looking for backup. I'm going to say they'll sell well. Bliss sighs. Looks like I went into business with a couple of wannabe farmers. She laughs. Prove me wrong then. Show me this is a windfall. She kicks away towards the new patched together terminal. Until then, I'll be working on how to keep this place open. Moritz mouths a thank you and goes back to moving the crates. You'd better be on your way too. Okay, so Bliss's Bay. In 2 days we'll have some other garbage to deal with. Bliss is taking another shot at landing a contract. After the run you've had, this seems like a last chance. Alright, well, I'm enjoying it, so we might sort of double down on that. Now, do we have mushrooms? Girol caps. Pale peppery mushrooms used for flavouring I-made alcohol. Well, I know who needs that. And that is Emphis. Let's go all the way down to Emphasis restaurant. Girol fricassee. Let's give those to him. Emphis ingredients supplied. So what's happening now? Girol prep. Emphis is working on gathering the ingredients and preparing the mushrooms. He doesn't like to rush these things. So in 3 days, I guess we'll have like a new meal or something cool like that. In the meantime, I've got a lot of dice to spend. Let's have a look at the scrap freighter. I want to earn money, so let's excuse me, let's chance this one, and then I might re-roll these 2s. 15 cryo. Okay, let's re-roll one of these. So we got another 2, but we did get 2 4s, so let's spend all of those on here. Cool. $89, and then this is a low one, so this might fail, but at the least we'll get some money. Cool, so I've got 100 there. All I needed money for before was the 100 as the seed money for Bliss, and I was also looking at buying a ship mind, which I don't need to do anymore. So let's see how much this is going to cost. 100, nice. Okay, let's drop that in there. And we will go over to the greenway. Awesome. Cross to the greenway. Greenway. As you step out into the passageway, someone barrels into you from behind, sending you stumbling down the corridor. Who's this person then? Esh. Stubborn ex-XPR spacer. Looks like she's only got half a flight suit and the other half's hanging off the back there. Pretty hench and a mean face. You turn to see an unfamiliar spacer, laden with heavy gear. She steadies herself, staring you down as if daring you to respond. I can say sorry, excuse me, or stay silent. Let's go with sorry. She adjusts a strap on her shoulder, holding up a hand in recognition before setting off down the corridor. And then we've got another person here, a slim, almost vampiric, goth-looking person in a tight-fitting spacesuit, holding a data pad in a fashion that makes it look like a book, and he's got a bum bag like wrapped around his body with utility stuff all on the front. Okay, we need a voice for Peak. I'm sorry for her. A second spacer smiles at you apologetically. She's on a mission, and when she's on a mission, they shrug. I'm going to say not a problem. They smile. You're sweet. Peak! Esh stands further down the corridor, glowering at her friend. She chops at the air, pointing down the corridor to whatever end she's rushing to. Peak raises their eyebrows at you. Esh, please, don't you want everyone on this station to hate us? He says do, but it came out as don't. Esh hardens. They want to hate us. They can hate us. She drops her hip. I'm not exactly seeing much love as it is. We're lucky we got through before they set up that damn cordon. Cordon? Peak gestures in your direction. See, they don't even know what you're talking about. This station isn't Hawthorne. Not everyone has to follow some corporate protocol. Esh sighs. I'm not saying they're part of the administration. She jerks her head in your direction. But I'm saying we need to get these supplies to the Briar before someone starts asking questions. Let's go for the Briar. That's our ship, Peak explains. Peak! Esh rolls her eyes. What are you doing? Peak ignores her. We're with the refugees, the ones Havanage have cordoned off from entering the station. Esh interrupts. The ones that are being quarantined in makeshift vessels that barely made it to the Eye to begin with. The ones that your station administrators have called an existential risk and are running out of supplies while their right to safety is being debated by people with no stake in their future. She quickly looks away, annoyed at her own outburst. Peak sighs. She's right. People are trapped out there and... They turn to Esh. We understand that this is a big problem for the Eye. Hundreds of refugees and more ships turning up each cycle. They hold up a hand to stop Esh interrupting. But... Esh turns away, her burning anger a palpable force in the close quarters of the corridor. They need supplies, and after everything they've been through, the quarantine isn't helping. Peak finishes. That's terrible, that's difficult, or stay silent. I think I'm going to say that's terrible. Esh looks back at you, her fierceness fading. Peak, please. Esh gathers herself and the supplies. Esh, we need help. Just like the refugees needed us, we need others too. They smile at her. Peak turns to you. Come find us. The climbing briar is docked at the broken spoke past the greenway in the wastes. We have a good view of the cordon, though we're keeping our distance for now. Come help us. They squeeze your hand. Esh turns to leave and Peak follows, waving goodbye. Excuse me. Hydration. A moment later, Esh shouts back down the corridor. Don't bother coming empty-handed. You want to help? Show us. Bring supplies or don't come at all. And with that, they disappear around the corner, Esh already picking up speed as Peak calls for her to slow down. A refugee flotilla? Where are they coming from, and why now? Each time you think you begin to understand this place, something changes. Okay. So we have a new drive from those two who want some help. Flotilla aid. Esh and Peak need help gathering supplies for the refugee flotilla quarantined in the wastes, or past the wastes. Will you help them? To bring them some mushrooms. Okay, that just takes me back. So let's have a look up here and see what's around. So we've got the greenway. Going green. Exploring the greenway is unlike any other place on the Eye. Its overgrown chambers defy mapping. Map the pathways. Rather than simply thrash through the undergrowth, you might sketch a map of this overgrown jungle to try and better navigate its hazards. Or walk the greenway. The simplest way to explore the greenway is to simply pick a path and set off into its twisting chambers and passages. This carries obvious risks. Okay. This is a person to chat to. Oh, it's Feng! Yeah, man! Let's just have a look at these other things and then we'll talk to Feng. Work the canteen. Newcomers to the commune can work within the canteen, preparing and serving food for those that make the compound their home. Work the grow beds. The grow beds are at the heart of the commune, feeding the members and fueling their lab work. You're invited to assist in maintaining them. These will boost my Haifa membership. I think Haifa run the commune that lives in the greenway. Haifa member. The only way to become part of the commune is to work your way in through long service. It isn't for everyone. And then wild margins. Artificial wilderness. So this is where Ashton is. Ashton is to do with Ankita. Here, find Ashton. Ankita seems to think Ashton is out here at the wild edge of the greenway. Time to see if that's true. So we've got the option here to search for signals. Rather than hiking around the wilderness, you could make use of your skills. Tap into the cloud and find Ashton by his signals. Look for tracks. Seems like the obvious way to track someone, but in this overgrown tangle, the simple task suddenly becomes difficult. Okay. There's a lot going on here. So I might go and do some stuff over on the other bit of the eye and then come here, because I still need to work for Rabia. Let's talk to Feng. When you enter the service dock, Feng is already set up, crouched among the stacks of equipment. He's leaning over a terminal, bathed in a blue glow. He looks totally at home. Sleeper, what do you think? Turns out not everyone in Havanage... Oh, excuse me. Turns out not everyone in Havanage is set against me. A couple of my old systems pals managed to ship me some of my old gear. He gestures at the pile of blinking hardware. The mess is here. Feng laughs. Don't question the process, Sleeper. And I'll say, what are we looking at? One massive smoking gun. He raises his eyebrows. Feng beckons you over. He has a set of scans of the wastes on his terminal, with heat maps of activity overlaid. A chunk of the derelict rim is blotchy with bright red and orange marks. Does this look like a wasteland to you? Feng shakes his head. There's hundreds of Conway machines out there, all lined up in concealed hangars, and a whole underground facility to support them. So if you remember, he was wanting us to crack Conway, which is something we had to wait to do till we got here. Hardin has got a crew out there putting them together. They must have shipped them in piece by piece through the shipyard, ready for assembly out here. Machines? That's Conway's whole thing. Remote operated vehicles. Drones, cutters, salvage haulers, the full set. Maybe Hardin masked this whole thing as an effort to clean up the wastes, but there's no way this is about pulling scrap off the eye. Feng looks worried. And why is Conway in the mix? I bet no one in Havanage knows another corporation is setting up on the station. They aren't stupid either. These scans are the best info I can get. The wastes are cut off from the eye's cloud of networks, and the greenway is a total dark zone. No data can come in or out. We can't hack them, or I can try. I'm going to say I can try. No use. You need to enter the cloud, and there's no cloud to speak of. He turns and winks. That's why I'm going to pay them a visit. I'm going to say how. You forget. Havanage come in and out of there all cycle. I should be able to get in, as long as no one I know sees me. He grimaces playfully. But I need you on the outside to help disable security systems and cut me a pathway through. There's no cloud access, but if I can get inside, I can open up nodes in their network and we can work in tandem. It's a massive facility, buried deep down there, miles of corridor and ventways, wrapped around cargo bays and hangars, so it'll take more than a few cycles to work through it. But as long as you can keep them off my back, I know I can rip what we need out of there. He pulls a handful of ripper worms from his pocket and hands them to you. These are the last of my little helpers I managed to salvage, so make them count. I modified them slightly. This time they'll feed their data threads back into the system so that they're tunneling into, creating a nasty little feedback loop. We run it just like we did with the agents. Hack the nodes I pinged to locate the ports for the security system, then slot the worms in those systems and let them go to town. He points to a fuzzy silhouette of the buried facility on the terminal. Here's the entryway. This is where you can get access and slot the first worm. That'll fry their perimeter systems and get me past the first cordon. What I need from you is to keep your eyes on the facility after you kick things off. You see me pop up a security system, a server bank, you need to break in and slot a ripper to disable it as soon as you can. If I can't? Feng gives you a hard look. You miss a system, you wait too long, they're going to find me. Simple as that. He claps you on the shoulder. I need you focused on this one, so I'm going to let you fire the starting gun. I won't go until you slot that first worm. I'll leave a tracker running on the terminal here, so come back here if you want to see my progress. He affectionately pats the top of the screen. This sounds risky. Risky? This is audacious at least, he grins. Wouldn't be worth it if it wasn't. Feng gets up. It's all in place. You just need to make your own preparations, then slot that worm. He stretches. Just don't wait too long. Getting bored of all this sneaking around. Once I'm inside, I'll get the proof we need to end this whole thing, no matter what. He crouches to check the terminal. We can't take longer than 6 cycles on this thing, remember that. He stands up. Oh, and one last thing. He lowers his voice. If I get caught, or you can't reach me, or we run out of time, there's one thing I need you to do. What's that? You take whatever I've managed to pull at that point, all that data, and you slot that stuff straight into the relay I've set up here. He points to a pile of servers and terminals, hooked into the dock with cables as thick as your arm. I've repurposed the dock's SOS broadcast system to beam out whatever you put in it. Anyone with a terminal, a slate, or a server on the eye will see it. That means Havanage, Yadigan, the hub, everyone. No matter what, Hardin isn't snaking away this time. He grins. I've got a bit more to do here, but the moment you slot that first worm, I'll make my move. He gives you a parting smile and turns back to the terminal. The nerves hit as you make your way out of the service dock. Time to prepare yourself. So we've got 6 cycles to enact this. I don't see the timer. What's this? Climbing Briar. Oh, hello, what's this? Welcome to Episode Flux. Episode Flux is the first of 3 episodic updates to Citizen Sleeper, telling the story of the refugee flotilla which has arrived at the Eye. All 3 episodes, Flux, Refuge and Purge, are now available. Completing the Deliver Spores action will begin the episode, but be aware that it's intended for late game play. Okay. So I guess whatever we do here is going to be harder, meaning I'll want to wait a bit. Oh, nice little warning, that's good. So I think episode Flux might have been available or was on its way when I played this last time. The Wastes. Ruined agricultural, what was it? Ruined agricultural systems. Agriculture systems. Okay, gather scrap. Out here at the end of the habitable parts of the Eye, everything is scrap. The trick is finding components that are still usable and staying safe. Interesting. So Feng isn't ready yet, that's fine. So because I'm triggering it. So what I need to do now is go back and go to bed. I've got no money to buy food, so I'm going to wake up starving. But we should still be okay, we should still have all of our dice. So let's go to the house. End cycle. Now I'm not really tracking a drive here. I'm actually going to go back to the original area and just see if there's anything I've missed, you know? Got a nice even spread of dice rolls. Let's have a look at what's going on with Ethan. Yeah, I might actually work on paying off Ethan's debt. Although I do need some food myself, so let's do this one. Oh, whoops, wrong button. Yeah, let's pop that one in there. Start action. Because that other bounty hunter is on the way, so. But I can't spend all of my stuff on here. I'm gonna have to like sunbathe or something. Cool. Let's re-roll these. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Okay, let's just carry on with this one. I think getting Ethan on our side when that bounty hunter arrives is going to be actually pretty useful. Let's start action there as well. Cool. So I think next cycle we'll be able to complete that. So let's end cycle again. Starving again. Okay, so we've got 4 dice. Let's go and sort this stuff out. Pop that 4 in there. Okay, now one more. Okay, so it turns out the compressor's owners are local gangsters. Now Ethan has to work off his debt if he wants to keep breathing. So I've just paid his debt. They're never going to release my debt, the shits. Ethan kicks at a locker and a sound rattles loudly around the room. Ethan paces around the small room, swearing to himself. You watch him from the locker room bench. Calm down, they'll do it. Ethan laughs. There's no way. He spits on the floor, an old habit. They like having snivelling little shits like us to work at their club. So saves on the overheads and they get to boss us around. He kicks the locker again and swears. What did they say? Some shit about getting back to me. I swear to God these are the most straight-edge gangsters I've ever seen. He laughs at his own joke. I can't do it. I can't spend another shift stopping spacers bringing nail guns into the club or pouring endless shots of Girol for ignorant Havanage work crews. He looks at the locker again, threatening it with a final kick. I mean it. I'm going to go up there and shoot every single one of these shits. He makes a finger gun. I'm going to say hold on. Don't get all excited. I haven't got my gun, remember? He stops pacing. But, you know, Sleeper, that's not a bad idea you have there. I didn't have an idea, but I'm going to say it's a terrible idea. But is it though? He gives you a look. I don't mean shooting up the place. I mean getting the gun. He sits beside you on the bench. Think about it. What am I supposed to do when Maywick gets here? Shout him down? I need that gun, if you want me to keep up my end of the deal. It's simple. An explosive personality for a distraction at the front. He places a hand on his own chest. A sneaky sleeper to go in the back. He pats at your chest. It's stupid. No, I'm going to go with it. What about the debt? We've done our time, and the wounds, they've faded. If they don't notice us take the gun, they'll never know it's gone. Plus, he stands up, after my distraction they'll be happy to see the back of me. Or they'll want you dead even more. Either works. At least I'd never have to see the inside of this shithole again. He gives the locker one last kick, for good luck. Let me know when you want to do this, then we both move as one and meet up in the Bright Market after. But don't take too long or I really will shoot this place up. He grins. You know I'll do it. I don't think he would do it at all. So, Compressor Club. Grab the gun. You know where the lockup is, and Ethan's gun has been there since the bartender took it. Time to take it back. So grab the gun is the positive, and a question mark is the negative. I'm going to re-roll. Cool. There we go. We've got a 6 on that. Let's grab the gun. And we've got some energy, very nice. Continue. The gun tucked safely into a pocket, you work your way down the stairs that lead up to the office. A doorman passes you and you exchange nods. It seems like you're in the clear. You hurry on, eager to get out before anyone spots anything. As you come down the main stairway into the front of the club, you see Ethan entering. He has a dark look in his eyes which troubles you. He's reaching into the pocket of his coat, slowly, carefully. You catch his eye and he raises an eyebrow. You shake your head. A long pause, then he nods and turns around, walking back out of the club. You exhale, not realising you are holding your breath. And then you are out, without a single shout, without anyone noticing. You meet Ethan around the corner, on a quiet, Bright Market hallway. So, you have it? He looks nervous. I'm going to ask, what were you doing back there? I was about to start a distraction, like we agreed, he sighed. Just show me. You lift it out of your pocket, and it's colder, heavier than you expected. Ethan watches you take it out. Nice. Now if you would... He beckons with his hand. A memory jumps into your mind of Ethan in the compressor, hand out, asking for his gun back. A memory followed by the memory of a sharp, dizzying pain. You flinch. Gonna wait. Ethan gestures again. Come on, hand it over. Point the gun at Ethan. Oh man. I'm gonna say no. Funny. Ethan narrows his eyes. Could point the gun at him or hand it over. I just feel like he's probably gonna turn me over to this Maywick guy or something, so I'm gonna point the gun at him. Ethan laughs. So you can learn. He smiles. Well done, you. Unfortunately, it's a little too late. You notice the hand in his pocket. You had so many cycles to try to end this, and yet here we are. And tell him to shut up. You still don't get it, do you, Sleeper? Ethan spits. When they cancelled their contract, I lost everything. My reputation, my payout, any way of getting off this shitty station. Everything. All I had left was you, he grins. A naive little sleeper with a heart of gold. I couldn't believe it worked, he laughs. And now we're done. Gonna stay silent? He stares fearlessly at you. I can't believe you thought I'd kill one of my own for you. For what? Helping me wash dishes? He laughs. Maywick is like me. We understand each other. I feel like this Maywick is like serious business, so probably would think Ethan was trash. He's here, you know, on the station. I've been speaking with him. He tells me we can split the contract. Not 50-50, but enough of a finder's fee that I can get out of this shithole. You're dead. If you were capable of that, Sleeper, you would have done it long ago. Doesn't matter either way. Ethan grins. I already called him. Ethan glances around. I've learned one thing from you though, Sleeper, in all our cycles working in that shitty club. He smiles. People never know when to cut and run. It's like they freeze in the headlights when the future is bearing down on them. They watch it coming, watch their death flying in at fraction drive speed. You had every chance and you still kept on going, like some idiot robot. Going through the motions, even when you knew you'd be crushed. He smirks. And let me tell you something else. The shot enters through his upper back and he crumples immediately to the ground. You drop too, without thinking, pressing yourself to the walkway floor like it might save you. Silence. You look up and you see him coming down the walkway, silent, eyes alight. Maywick, S&ARP hunter. So he's got camo trousers with big protective patches on the knees, some communications equipment on his belt, a rifle with a laser scope, a utility vest that looks armoured, and a very gaunt face, maybe something like android features. Certainly got golden android eyes and then like a short ponytail with black hair. Maywick. You freeze in fear. Here it comes. He says, what voice for this guy? Move. You can't. Move. You inch forward. Move. You go for it. You rush forward and a shot sounds out. You feel it ripple over your back. Then you are lifting the gun and you scramble to your knees behind Ethan's body and fire. You close your eyes. You fire again and again and again until the clip is empty and all that are left are clicks. Then you drop the gun and stand up. You don't hear anyone running. You don't hear anything. You just hear the sound of your own breath. You start walking, stepping over Ethan's static body, walking along the walkway and then past Maywick, his eyes now dark, some mechanical fluid leaping from his chest. Perhaps the same fluid that's inside you. You try not to think about it. You keep going and the sound comes back. The eye comes back. And as it does, you hear the sound of thousands of people getting on with their lives. Thousands of people who are just going to keep going until they can't anymore. You look up and all you see are the wheeling stars. They're spinning and you are suddenly dizzy, though the eye has always spun like this, hasn't it? And you don't stop walking, you keep going. That's all there is now, the path forward. S&ARP have left you no history, no past to speak of, just a void that threatens to swallow you if you slow down. You think of Ethan's smile, his voice, and you feel sick. Is it over? You aren't sure if it ever can be, but you're still here and you can't stop now. There has to be a better end than this. Wow, okay. Well, that feels like perhaps an ending of sorts. I completed a drive, which was gain Ethan's protection. Ethan tried to double cross you, but Maywick ended his scheme. Now you're free of them both. So I killed Maywick, so he wasn't actually that bad news after all. I've got one upgrade point, so I can't actually get anything anyway. But I think we might go for this obsessive haggler thing on the next one. Cool, so I've got one more dice. I've dealt with that. I could just sunbathe, get some energy back up. Let's see what's going on up here. It was a few days, I think, until... Yeah. Can't work on that yet. Oh dear, how dramatic. That did it. Oh, the timer's gone now. I just had to go look at it. Okay, yeah, let's go to the apartment. I guess when we leave that timer will be gone as well. Yeah, because that was Maywick. I feel like we fast forwarded something up there. Got 4 cryo. I could feed the cat, but I'm just gonna. I'm gonna sunbathe. Cool, and then let's end cycle. Proper drama. We trashed Maywick in like 1 second. I thought he was going to be bad news. Container. You wake from dreams of Maywick's amber eyes floating in a pool of dark fluid. I'm not in the container though, I'm in my apartment. It was difficult to get to sleep, and you suspect that it isn't about to change anytime soon. Not after what happened. But you also feel something else as you get up. Thumb the power stud of the stove and begin to boil the water, like every morning. You feel something has lifted, something that's been hanging over you since you arrived on this station. You try not to think too hard about it, to question it. You just let that lightness stay, let it settle as you go through your routines. Your hope is that if you don't focus on it, you don't look at it directly, it won't get scared and leave you. That the lightness will stay for this cycle, and then another, and then another. Because after all that's happened, a little lightness would be nice. Cool, okay, so we've got a nice set of dice rolls here. Oh, and the food is ready. Let's go talk to Emphis. There's my man, Emphis. Emphis is preparing the girol caps. He has had to heavily adapt this recipe, he says, but the smell is already incredible. It emanates from a strange purplish white bulb you've never seen before, and he is slicing it finely. He brushes and slices the mushrooms, then places them in the wok with the sliced bulb and the oil. They caramelise there, in that well-worn crucible. He adds liquids, transparent and opaque, and then turns down the heat. A sprinkle of leaves is the final touch. "We have a moment, sleeper," he smiles. "Do you have a story?" Something in the scent of the food gives you a feeling of nostalgia, something distant and melancholic. It seems like the story should match that feeling somehow, and maybe you will feel better for telling it. Let's recall my oldest memories. You start by explaining that when you are emulated from a person, many of your memories are left behind. Perhaps it is an intentional part of the process, a way of keeping sleepers ignorant and malleable, or perhaps it's a side effect of the imperfect emulation. You admit that you don't really know. What you do know is that some memories survive, and on occasion they come back to you, like shadows passing overhead. You detail one recurring memory, which, despite returning to you with enough regularity for you to think it familiar, always fades as quickly as it arrives. You struggle to explain the feeling of being whole for a moment that comes with this memory, and then how that wholeness slips away to leave you feeling like you've forgotten something important, but just can't bring it to mind. Emphis nods throughout, cooking as he does with deft and skillful movements. You start to trail off when you realise you can't find the words to explain how the memories you do have feel like both yours and someone else's at the same time, and how that always fills you with a certain sadness. A sadness of remaining forever unknown, even to yourself. Emphis finishes cooking and meets your eye. "I'm sorry, sleeper, for your troubles." He puts the wok to one side. "I appreciate you sharing it with me." He smiles. "I hope it lightens you a little." He passes you a bowl and heaps the girols onto it, their yellow colour mixing with the pale sauce in whorls and blooms. "Eat." The dish is delicious, filling. It warms you as you eat in a way you weren't even sure your body could be warmed. It is a small mercy, you think, that Essenarp left you this pleasure. Many of the features of frames are there to simulate human experience, you know that much. Emulated minds cannot be rewired, so their need for embodied experience must be met. That is why you breathe even when you do not need air. Without that simulation, the sensation of drowning would be unbearable. Food serves another purpose. Your frame is able to metabolize it, to produce energy from the raw material. Vitamins and minerals are excess, of course. Your frame only needs raw power, so much is wasted. And yet, while you eat this food and feel that warmth, nothing feels wasted. It all means something to you. As you finish, Emphas takes the bowl, the last of his cleaning. He smiles at you, and neither of you feel the need to say anything more. Instead, you simply exchange nods and walk your separate ways back into the Bright Market, somehow unchanged. Cool, so we're full up, which is good. Matsutake broth. Emphas mentions an old recipe for matsutake broth. All he needs are 2 handfuls of matsutake caps, freshly sourced. Cool. Right, what stuff can I go do with my dice? Wouldn't mind earning some money, to be honest. Let's just see what's up with Bliss. Alright, one more day till we can help Bliss. I'm ignoring the side reel. Still. So let's go over onto the greenway. Import, export. This is all ship mine related. Random items. Okay. No, I think I'm gonna just go over to the greenway. I don't know what the random items do for me. Maybe I can get a stabilizer or something, but I'd rather spend these dice on opening up more of the story. So let's just start in the greenway and work our way up. Going green. Right, we need 6 of these, so I reckon I can get... This one has danger attached to it, so let's stick the 4 in there for a 5. Nice. And let's put the other 4 in there. Cross our fingers. Oh, not quite. Okay. I'm gonna risk this 3. Cool. Okay, so we've done the going green requirement there. New drive. Grow mushrooms. The aviary would be the perfect place to grow mushrooms, with some work, that is. Okay. Well, I'm gonna need mushrooms. Okay, so I can collect spores. While the grove mushrooms are dangerously inconsistent, spores provide a chance to gather or study these species in an untouched form. The fungus that grow in the deep groves of the greenway are typically avoided, but those with sharp eyes might find useful fruiting bodies. I think I'd rather go for the spores so that I can maybe grow my own mushrooms, maybe? I think that's something you can do. 1 grove spores. Cool. Farm stacks. Okay, I can steal the harvest, which is not really my bag, to be honest. There's loads of food here. Why should these farmers keep it to themselves? If you can do it quickly, they might not even notice it's gone. If you get caught stealing, there's no way you'll be able to work in the stacks. It's as simple as that. Work the stacks. Some farm stacks from the old station have survived, and the farmers that work them are always looking for new workers. They pay by yield. And I can barter for food. The farming collective who control the stacks don't like to sell their food piecemeal, but for the right price they'll let it go. Okay. The aviary. Clear overgrowth. Once a corporate garden for impressing guests with gene-tweaked birds, now this chamber is a mess of overgrowth. You can change that. Sunlit refuge. Cut away the choking vines, stop the rot, and this place could be turned back into a garden of sorts. Oh, this would be my way to grow mushrooms. Awesome. Oh, that's tracking Ashton. I can come back to that later. So I think I'm going to track the grow mushrooms drive here. Get to know Emphas. Emphas loves 2 things, stories and food. Maybe if you supply him with both, you can hear his story. So I have to bring him Matsutake caps. So that's for that It kind of ties in with the growing mushrooms. So I can't grow anything until I've cleared this space, so I need to go back to my house. There we are. Okay, let's end cycle. I also need to do some work for some money and buy another stabilizer because I've only got one. Oh, something's happening. It's Moritz. Sleeper. Moritz is leaning against the corridor wall. It's time. He looks away. Big job just came in. Grand finale. You up for it? I'm ready. Alright then, we're in business. He pushes away from the wall. This has to work, Sleeper. It has to. He looks down. If it doesn't, I'm going to ask if we're in trouble. The bay, you mean? He shrugs. We were already in trouble before you got here. The work so far hasn't been enough. Look, Bliss has had a rough time of it. I thought you of all people would understand that. He runs a hand through his hair. Sorry, didn't mean to be... He smiles. Bliss is a good one. She gave me a chance. I owe her. He straightens up. I know you have your own things going on, Sleeper. We all do. But the bay needs someone. Bliss needs someone. Hell, I need someone to help me keep Bliss from spinning out completely. He scratches the side of his head. Otherwise, there's not much I can do. He shakes his head. And I'd hate not to pay back my debts. Moritz stretches. I've got to get back. He nods and walks away. I'm out. See you up there. It feels like they added Moritz visiting you because people forget to go up to the hub. Wow, look at this ship. What the heck? That's great. It's like a big fish. What was it called? The Starward Vector. Tangled Solar Yacht. Alright. So, solar window. The selected launch window for the Starward Vector's maiden voyage is closing. This is going to be a tight one. Rigged and ready. The Starward Vector's experimental sail deployment failed horribly. Now its massive solar sails need to be repaired. Untangle the sails. The spurs need resetting and the system rebooting, but if you're careful you can safely untangle some of the sail while you do this. Right, so I've got 6 days to get all this done. Crumbs. Well, let's stick our 6 in there because that's safe. That gets us the most rigged and ready. Let's chance a 5. Cool. I've got a bit of money as well, nice. Let's chance another 5. Cool, and then let's re-roll this one. Now, for this is safe, so a negative outcome is minus rigged and ready, which I don't really want to risk. So let's go try this one instead, because that just we lose energy, which is fine. Cool. So that's everything used up there. Let's go back to the apartment. Should I use the... I don't know if I should use the stabilizer yet or not. Let's end cycle. I'm not sure what happens when you're starving. I guess you lose some condition, probably. That's probably how it goes. Yeah, see, I've only got 3 dice now. That's not great. Okay. Well, all these dice are trash. Let's re-roll. Oh no! I got 3 ones. Oh, that's awful. Okay, here's what we need to do is we need to sunbathe. And again. I need to stabilize. And I might need to go sell some data to get some money. So let's go sell. Oh no, that was... Oh gosh, I left that half done, haven't I? Let's go sell some Yatagan data to Havanash. Cool. Now I've got enough money to buy some dinner. Let's buy some rations. Alright, so we're not dead. Just see if there's anything I can do with this one. Yet again, yeah, stick that in there. And then let's just go sell that data. Oh no, I don't need to sell it just now. I've got 3 though. Yeah, let's whip down, sell one of those. Just get a little bit of cash. So that puts me on 19 again. And then we'll end cycle and we'll hope for a better set of dice rolls this time. Okay, there we go, that's more like it. So send to the hub. See if we can clean up this ship before it has to go. That was a really unlucky day that we just had. So 6 is in here first of all. Probably just burn the whole lot in here, to be honest. If we don't get paid this time, I don't know what I'll do. Just smash up the entire space station maybe. It's funny when you say you want to shoot people and all of that, because obviously it's a computer game and people shoot people in computer games all the time. And when an NPC goes, "We both know you're not going to do that," I'm like, I would. I would definitely shoot you, you're an idiot. Okay, one more day and we've got it. So let's see what food we can get here. Buy a spacer meal. No, maybe I'll get something cheaper. How much is the Girol going to cost me now? That's the same. Okay, well, we've got it, might as well spend it. Cool. Alright, let's pass another cycle in our repaired unit. I could sell my scrap and stuff if I desperately needed money, but I'm hanging on to it in case somebody wants to barter for it or something like that. Just future-proofing a little bit. Okay, we've got a bit of a mid-spread here, although it's veering towards high, so that's good. Having +1 on everything is actually a nice way to have played it. So this should be the one. Let's pop the 5 in there for a guaranteed 6. Untangling the sails, and we've done it. Rigged and ready, and we've got +5 cryo as well. Alright, let's see how this goes, shall we? Third time's the charm. The atmosphere in the airlock is euphoric. You and Bliss keep grinning at each other like idiots. Exhausted, blinded, sore and aching idiots. Sleeper, that was incredible. She punches you on the arm. I never thought we were going to make it. Those idiots tangled the whole thing up like nothing I've ever seen. We make a good team. Bliss smiles a winning smile. As the lock's inner door clunks open, Moritz gives a rare whoop. He looks exhausted too, and for good reason. Moritz has been the one ferrying tools and parts back and forth from the ship. His tired smile tells you he's glad it's done. Sleeper, Bliss. He shakes his head. Impressive. When I saw that ship come in, I thought there was no way. Why, thank you, Moritz, she winks, for believing in us. Moritz rolls his eyes. You know what I mean. Take the compliment. Oh, that was sarcastic, that believing in us thing. I thought I just play her as genuine the whole time. He shoulders some of the gear that came back in with you and Bliss and heads to the racks to stow it. Bliss turns to you. I think you should be the one to do the honours. She nods to the ragged-looking console that Moritz assembled. I don't want to jinx it. She smiles, but you can see she is genuinely nervous. I will say, don't worry. I'll stop worrying when the chits are in my hands and I'm giving them to a gimbal bartender. You slide over to the console and check the screen. It takes a second to see what you're doing through the flickering, cracked display, but after a moment you see the accounts. Oh, I'm almost scared to hit continue here. And there it is, almost 1,000 cryo, sat in the base transfer account. Well, Bliss calls, have we been screwed again? It's there. Bliss kicks off from the floor and spins up into the bay, shouting as she does. The noise takes Moritz by surprise, and he knocks a rack of parts, scattering handfuls of metal fixings across the bay. The sight is something, glinting steel catching the work lights like glitter. Sorry, says Bliss, grinning, when she comes back down. I needed that. She kicks off and joins you at the terminal. Moritz even managed to sell that produce. We made a tidy profit, eventually. She laughs. Here. She loads a stack of blank chits into the terminal and transfers a chunk of the cryo to them. This is your cut. Bliss hands you the chits. Thank you for believing in this place. She looks away and smiles. Even when I couldn't. When you first met me, I was on the edge of giving up. All it would have taken was one more push. But now this place is sparking again. Work is coming in, there are funds in the accounts. Even Moritz has a spring in his step. You both look over at him, happily racking up tools. That's because of you. She punches you on the arm. He likes you. I can ask what's his deal or say he's a good kid. I'm going to say he's a good kid. He isn't bad, is he? She leans in closer. You know, he came here looking to rob the place. I gave him a job instead. She laughs. Don't tell him I told you that. I just thought it might help you understand the kid. Moritz turns to look at you, and both Bliss and you awkwardly wave. Maybe it's time to change the subject. I'm going to ask what now? From here on out it's going to be a little easier. I'm going to look for some component contracts. Stuff that will keep us inside the bay, not out in the black. No need to risk our necks if we don't need to. You want to cash out? That's fine. But there will always be work for you here when you need it. I appreciate it. She smiles and then, out of nowhere, quickly gives you a hug. She steps back and glances around reflexively. Take care, she says softly. And I say, you too. You turn to leave. And sleeper? Yes. She smiles. Don't spend that all at once. How much did we get? 300! Oh, right. 300 cryo to play with. That's great. Now I understand why that one was so hard and you kept like getting defeated, because the payout's really good. Although I did put 100 in, so actually it's only like 200. So I've got 2 upgrade points. Let's go for Obsessive Haggler now that we've got a bunch of money. Seems only appropriate. All cryo actions are discounted by 20%. It'll help. And I've got a bunch of dice to spend, which is great. So, is it really... should I bother getting the house? I don't know if I need it really. 48 cryo. The only place to sleep on the hub. I mean, I don't really need to be up here anymore, so... probably won't rent that house. I'll probably save the money for something that I need. Let's descend to the rim. Now, I think I'm going to go and finish off with Rabia here, so... because I'd kind of forgotten about this one. So let's do collect tithes. I want some scrap components. Nice, I've got some energy for that as well. That's good. Alright, let's try again. I might re-roll these 2. Yeah, I'll re-roll. Ah, yeah, they both went up by 1, that's good. So let's try that one. I might not put the 2 in there though. Yeah, why not? Come on. Fantastic. So next cycle we should be able to complete whatever that is. So let's jump in. End cycle. I could just blow all that 300 on scrap parts, but that would be very silly. So we have 5 dice. Oh, I could feed the stray for 3 now. Let's go back to Rabia's. And let's try and get these scrap components. Can I only carry 3? Oh no, there, I've got one. And then I'll put this 4 in as well. Cool. Alright, so we've got the Yataghan Insider. Let's see what that gives us. Rabia. There she is. This time you meet inside Rabia's office, although now that you've seen it, office seems like the wrong term. You find her stood in an almost bare, shadowy unit, midway through a sequence of stretchers. There are 2 low stools and a terminal in the corner, but it seems that most of the space is taken up by a heavy punching bag, rubber matting, and a stack of weights. When Rabia turns to greet you, you realise she's missing an arm. I already realised that. The prosthetic she usually wears is set in a cradle near the terminal, a web of coloured wires running into it. Updates, she says, noticing you looking where her artificial arm usually is. Nothing to worry yourself with. Sorry, I... Of course. I feel like sorry I is like a bit ableist of me, especially considering I've got an entire prosthetic body. So I'll say of course. Sit, says Rabia, gesturing to the 2 diminutive stools. You both settle on the stools, Rabia crossing her legs on top and sitting straight backed. Gia told me you have been doing the rounds, collecting tithes, patrolling the ward. She smiles. Some of the enforcers are impressed, and I hear you handled a few difficult circumstances. Nicely done. I wanted to help. And you did. She closes her eyes for a moment. I hope you can see how things work here now. A strong Yataghan means a strong low end. Both are woven into each other. I know that for you, life on the Eye has been a struggle, but I hope we can do something about that from here onwards. Though some of our members may not see it this way, I know you too are a refugee. She looks at you solemnly. That is why you have come to us. Enough, Rabia. Sabine's voice cuts through the conversation. I'm tired of listening to your affected nobility. They cross the room, Rabia's baton in their hand, the end lit with sparkling electricity. Rabia looks between the 2 of you. I suppose this ambush was another cooperation between you 2? She looks strangely unfazed. No, they're acting alone. I don't know anything about this. Sabine pauses, thrown off for a moment by your renunciation. Rabia takes this opportunity to act. She leaps from the stool and, fainting past Sabine, grabs the baton and twists it inwards. She is by far the stronger, and she pushes Sabine to their knees, plunging the crackling end of the baton towards their chest. They freeze there, Sabine struggling to keep the crackling baton from their skin. She shouts, stop. Then you support them? Rabia asks you, her eyes not leaving Sabine. Your loyalties are so easily swayed? I thought you were more than Yannick's attack dog, Rabia. Sabine spits back. Are you not able to think for yourself? Rabia holds the baton strong, and for a moment you think she's about to hammer it down into Sabine's chest. But, after a painful wait, she throws Sabine down instead, then spins the baton in her hand, thumbing a switch and shutting it off in a single move. I'm going to say, Rabia, explain. They both look at you, each still catching their breath, as if they'd forgotten about your presence. Explain what? How the moment I call my enforcers will... sorry, wrong voice. Explain what? How the moment I call my enforcers will... Oh, how the moment I call my enforcers will come down here and take them away. There should have been a comma here, I think. Rabia cracks her neck. You are lucky I didn't kill you. I would have had every right. Every right! She shouts, the anger a release of tension more than a threat. Sabine lifts themselves a little, bruised from the fall. They roll onto their side and cough. Rabia gives them some space, sitting back on the stool. Sabine props themselves up on their elbows and fixes Rabia with a hard stare. You have something to say? Rabia taunts. Say it. This is your final opportunity, because after this, she laughs, no coming back. What's the point? Sabine breathes heavily. She refuses to listen to criticism of the great Yatagan project. Rabia collects herself. Speak. She folds her arms and waits to be convinced. Sabine takes a breath, organising their thoughts. They go to start, pause, then decide on another approach. Eventually they say it. Yannick is a traitor. Rabia immediately flinches, her eyes going to her prosthetic arm, her muscles clenching, but she rides it out, more eager to prove Sabine wrong than she is to hurt them. At least for now. When I came here from S&ARP, they glance at you, gauging your reaction. It was Yannick who was one of the first to support me, to look after me. I should have known then, but I was naive and afraid. Sabine turns to you. Sleeper, they take a breath. I know that I should have told you I worked for S&ARP long ago, but I thought you would abandon me, and you're my final friend. What you should know is that I left S&ARP because I was running for my life. I leaked documents on the Sleeper program, on the illegal and immoral practices it relied on, to the press. S&ARP wanted me dead, and I fled as far as I could, to this refuge at the edge of the surrogate systems. Sabine stops to collect themselves. What does this have to do with Yannick? Rabia interrupts. The Sleeper knows you are S&ARP. I told them. And while you hide beneath the cover of being a whistleblower, you and I both know you worked on the Sleeper program. Yannick told me as much. Sabine's face falls. It is true. They glance at you and then away, ashamed. They lift their head. But it is Yannick, not me, who's in the pocket of S&ARP. Rabia flinches again. I can prove it. He made some kind of deal to keep me here, to tie me up in debt, to lock me away. In exchange... Rabia slams her hand on the desk. Just tell us, for God's sake! In exchange for those, Sabine finishes, nodding towards Rabia's prosthetic arm in its cradle. He's been using Yatagan enforcers, using you as test subjects for S&ARP technology. I have the data to prove it. He's been bringing them in under the guise of stolen shipments and having me fit them, knowing each one is capturing data and sending it back to its makers. Rabia's fixed expression has started to fade. Sabine produces a slate. It's all here. Thousands of hours of usage data, failure rates, error dumps. These are untested implants, Rabia. They could short out, fail, cause cascading failures across a person's body. And they have. Sabine suddenly looks incredibly tired. I thought the error rate in the units was down to them being stolen or modified. I've tried to fix hundreds of failures in my time here. Not all of them. They stop, unable to continue. Rabia closes her eyes and breathes in. Then she opens them again. She holds out a hand to Sabine. Show me, she says. Later, much later, when you leave.
Sorry, I'm not sure about that.
Sorry, I got interrupted by an Alexa going off then. Later, much later, when you leave, Sabine is still taking Rabia through the manifests and usage data. Both of them crowded around the terminal as Sabine leads Rabia through each layer of Yannick's betrayal. As you leave, Sabine catches your eye, and something passes between you. Something like a thank you or a sorry, or some other expression that communicates both sadness and hope. Whoa. That's some heavy stuff. So I have an upgrade point which I can't use just yet. That's fine. So these guys are going to take 3 cycles to check over their stuff. And in the interim we've got some dice to spend, so I think we should go over to the greenway and get started clearing the mushroom paddies. So I'm going to re-roll these dice, see if I get something higher. Well, that's not too good, but... So we've got a 6 there. I'm going to put the 3 in. Nice. And then this one... so it did say that the cloud is not available here. It's completely dark. Greenway Gate. The entire greenway is locked down, shrouded in a dark cloud of shifting currents. What is happening here? Let's input the greenway cipher. See what we open. The cipher burns away as it is slotted, the data sparking like a lit touch paper. What has been unlocked? Whoa, what's this in behind here? Look. Continue. The cloud. The greenway roils beneath you like a silt-choked river. If what Navigator said was true, then no one has accessed these networks since the collapse. The Hunter and Killer protocols have never set foot here, never cleared out the intelligences and systems. Oh, that's exciting. So why then, you wonder, does it look so dark? Is it just that the bit rot has set in, the entropy of systems reducing everything to shadows and light? You watch as the slotted cipher fizzles in the one open, distorted gateway on this entire rim of the station. It flickers and winks out, and then you are falling into the flow. A river of swirling darkness. You're spun by it, twisted by it, lost in it. It's not that the greenway was hiding in the darkness. It's made of the darkness. It's made of darkness. It is filled by this substance, this process, this swarm. Now you're among it. You notice that a swarm is exactly what it is. 1 billion individuals moving in a flow. There is no network map here, no nodes and threads, only a storm of interchangeable points, shifting configuration endlessly. Then you see them, a figure turned away, the only bright spot in the dark river. You push closer through the storm. Whoa! Who's this guy? He looks like an ent. Ingrown farm administrator, the gardener. Yeah, he's like a tree man. Deku tree. They are facing away, at least you think so. They're so fractured, so overgrown that it is hard to tell. Even from this distance you can see their flesh is moving, flowing. You watch, silent, as they stoop and reach down. In their hand is a dark shape, and with twisted fingers they press it down into the loam of data beneath them, pushing it through this trembling soil. Then they move away, go a little further, and repeat the process, as if they were sowing a field. You push forward, but somehow, despite their slow and deliberate speed, they move faster, and they quickly fade into the storm. You reach the point where they planted the object and look down. There it is, a glassy, shifting polygon, with something inside. You reach down and pick it up. It's cold, but it thrums with energy. You look towards the path of the figure, but they are long gone. When you blink out of the cloud, back to the leaves and the dappled light of the greenway, you hold a seed in your hand. Wow, I was not expecting that. I guess I didn't do this when I played it before. So what do we have here in the wastes? What's this thing? It's like oval thing. Conway access. Okay, so this is to initiate the thing with Feng. I think I'm going to leave that just now, because there seems to be a lot going on here. Let's see if there's anything we can do that's safe with our Wanna. Yeah, if I fail this, all I lose is a bit of energy, which is fine. Oh, great! No spores, but I suppose I used my dice up. It was worth the risk. So, let's go back to the unit. Gardener's... Oh, I didn't see that. I picked this up. Gardener's seed. You need to find somewhere safe to plant this gift. Oh, cool. Maybe I can do that when I use Feng's Ripper Worm. Let's end the cycle. Hopefully I'll still get 5 here, I'm not sure. Might have gone down to 4. Yeah, it has. That's unfortunate. Alright. Let's go back over to the greenway. And let's carry on clearing this. This is really what I want to work on so I can grow my own mushrooms. Good work. This one as well. And let's try this one. There's a chance this will come out negative, but... Alright, we've done it. Alright, so let's see what this has to say for itself. The aviary. Germinate spores. The old growth of the aviary has created a rich medium into which you can place the spores from the groves. They'll grow well here. Fungal beds. The moist corners of the aviary make the perfect beds for the spores. Once they are filled, they can be left to grow. Let's pop that in there then. Start action. You extract the spores from the sample print and mix with water, then inject them into the prepared mulch. It is precise work. Oh, so do I have to do that 3 times before I can get mushrooms? Well, if that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. So I'm going to re-roll that. Oh, you're joking me. Let's try that. So I've got some spores, which is good times. Let's get in here. Let's pop the spores in, and I might need to go and buy a stabilizer very shortly. So let's head back over. Wouldn't mind a house on the greenway, to be honest. Let's end cycle. We're now starving, which is great. So let's buy some stabilizer from Yatagan. Might buy 2 just because they're quite cheap. They're quite a lot cheaper now, and I do have all this money. And then shortly I'm going to have to use one, so it's always nice to have one in reserve. So let's get back over to the greenway. Do our little commute. Alright, let's gather some more spores. I'm going to use this one. Alright, I've got some spores. Fabulous. Let's go and pop those into here. Fungal beds. Leave. Fungal growth. The spores need time to germinate and spread in the aviary. The indirect sun of a few cycles should help them along. Nice. Should we gather some more spores? Because, like... No, That'll get me Juror caps. No, I'm gonna go do some work, actually. So, what's this? Farm stacks. Thief. This is all just to get food, but there doesn't appear to be anything to build up. So I'm not going to bother with that. Let's have a look at these 2. Haifa Commune. So I want to become a Haifa member. Both of these can operate fast. I can work the canteen or work the grow beds. I think I'm going to work the canteen. I've done a lot of chopping up spaceships and stuff. Let's do something a bit less energy intensive. And I think let's re-roll these 2. Oh, just balanced out. Let's try this one and see what we get. Bit of Haifa member and then try it again. Alright, cool. So we're halfway there. I think we might have unlocked something. A new drive. Germinate spores and let them grow. Oh yeah, so we were already tracking that drive anyway. Awesome. So that's all my dice used up. I could go and initiate that thing with Feng, but I kind of want to see what happens with the spores first. So let's work on this Haifa member stuff before we start that process off with Feng, because I might need resources for that won't be available if I'm trying to become a member of Haifa. Okay, so we're going to end... should we? No. Let's end cycle here. And I think next cycle I'll use the stabilizer. Yeah. Alright, that's not the role I really wanted. So before we talk to Rabia, I think we'll go over to the greenway and just do a bit of work. I'm keen to get this Haifa thing squared away. So this time we'll work the great beds, I think. Very good. And let's put this 3 in here. The 4 and the 5 have the same chance, so. And then try this one. I love the look of the greenway in the background. It's so algae-ish. An upgrade point. Well, we'll do that first. Self-repair. Use scrap components at home to repair condition. Hard to kill. Keep 2 dice even when condition is breaking. I think we'll go with this self-repair. And then Haifa Dorm. Okay. What we got here then? Perk, self-repair. With some careful engineering, you can patch up your damaged body with scrap components. The result isn't pretty. Well, I've got plenty of scrap components, so let's use one. Oh, you literally just get one. Nice. Alright, so we've got a person to talk to here. Riko, the commune botanist. Now, Siamath, if you're watching, this was going to be the person that was going to have the German accent. So I need to pick a different accent for her now. Riko. So this is an older, somewhat infirm woman of what looks like Asian heritage, holding a botanical sample and leaning on a crutch. She's got a very stylish outfit. It looks quite almost haute couture with a high waist and all of that, and she's got a lab coat on, and she's got messy black hair. You head down into the Haifa compound, following a blue painted line that is labelled Laboratories. The member you were assigned to work with told you they'd asked to see you, but you still have no idea what about. The line takes you to a blue door, and through to a glass roofed chamber, where a network of stems and leaves filters the sunlight coming through the ceiling, casting the whole chamber in a strange yellow-green. Well, what voice shall I give her? Of course, Australian! Now, I will have edited it out, but there was a huge gap there while I just sat and thought. So, peaceful, isn't it? Distracted by the green, you missed the woman standing at a lab bench, camouflaged by the dappled light. Welcome to my sanctuary, she smiles. Come, let's talk, she says, and beckons you closer. Who are you, I'm going to say. Of course, my apologies. She offers a hand to shake. I'm Riko. I run the botany at Haifa. Excuse me, I'm Riko. I run the botany program at Haifa. What is Haifa? I kind of know what Haifa is because I've got a dormitory with them, but yeah, she looks surprised. You've been working in the compound for a while now. I'm surprised you don't know more. She lifts a tiny sample jar. Yellow spores dance inside. Haifa lives off the land of the greenway. It's what allows us to live like we do. No one here pays or is paid. We sleep here. We feed each other. We work for each other. Riko walks away from the bench and waves for you to follow. She opens a small door and leads you down a glass corridor surrounded by vivid green. All this, she says, gesturing at the overgrowth, is kind of a miracle. She looks at you with bright eyes. What do you think usually happens to plants on stations like this when they're abandoned? I can say they die, they dry up, or they keep growing. I'm going to go with they keep growing. If only that was true. No, they do not. They dry up, and then they die. She leads you left at a crossroads, but here they endured. She smiles to herself. Actually, no, they thrived. You look at the bright tendrils wrapped around the metal frames of the corridor. They look dominant, strong, like they're taking control of this place. Riko continues. Of course, Solheim tried to create a stable biosphere here, patchworking the surface with gardens and algae tanks that feed into a network of microbial reclamation systems. Oh, I really hesitated there. I'll say that again. That feed into a network of microbial reclamation systems. But the greenway was always envisioned as extractive, a place from which the harvest is removed and sold to those living on the station, not a closed loop. Well, the way this NPC talks is very fluid and semi-scientific, not massively scientific, but it's quite hard to just roll it without pre-reading. A nice challenge. For this reason, when the collapse came, the Greenway should have gone with it. Erlen himself was so convinced of it that his first colony never even came here to try to reclaim it. The Eye instead relied on outside favours and influences, shipments from the inner system, and small-scale agricultural systems like kelp and fungal farm stacks. And yet here we are, among growth and decay, a biosphere flourishing. When Haifa came here, we expected to find only vacuum-dried stalks and leaves, and perhaps some fungal colonies hidden in the mulch. But we found a jungle. With this, Riko hits a button on the wall and leads you through a large pair of double doors into a huge, impossible chamber. It is every kind of green, from the pale algae tanks to the dark vines that surround them. It is wet, too, a rarity on the Eye. Condensation clouds the light from the high glass roof and gathers on the shiny, broad leaves of shrubs. I'm going to say how. That is exactly our question. Riko turns to you, visibly excited by the room you're both standing in. It doesn't make sense, but in many ways the system has stabilised. Unlike the farm stacks closer to the gap, who need input to support their meagre output, this place runs itself. Perhaps Solheim managed something new here. Perhaps they tweaked the plants or built new systems buried deep below us, or perhaps the collapse caused some fortunate cascade, an unlikely chemical reaction within the biosphere. That's what I'd like you to help me find out. She turns to you, her forehead wet with dew. I'm going to say, aren't you the botanist? Astutely noticed, but I don't need a botanist. Riko sits on a railing. These halls run deep, Sleeper, and I'm getting old. She stamps her foot on the metal grating of the walkway. Whatever is causing this, it's to be found in the groves deep in the Greenway. Haifa won't spare anyone for an expedition. It's too dangerous and unnecessary, they say. I can make the case, but I can't get the votes. You Sleepers are hardy beings, I know that much, and you can speak to the Eye, uncover its secrets, in ways I never can. She holds out an arm so you can help her stand. Bring me samples, spores, seeds and blooms. I can grow them in the lab and study them. The deeper they are found, the better. I will try. And if I don't want to as an option, that's silly. I will try. Thank you, she smiles, and thank you for listening. Riko leads you back out of the huge chamber and up through the passages. She's a little slower now and stumbles on the steps. You help her where you can. It's good to have new blood in the commune, she says. Many of us have been here a long time, and few come through. She settles back at her bench in the lab, stretching her legs. You go to leave. Come back if you find something, Sleeper, she calls. There are discoveries to be made. And you follow the blue line back up out of the compound, all the time thinking of that impossible, magical green. Cool, so we have a new drive, which looks like quite a fun one. Help Riko's experiments. The botanist Riko wants you to help her understand the closed ecosystem of the Greenway. Let's track that. So what's this here? Deliver spores. Riko has asked for samples of spores from the deep groves of the Greenway. With them she might better understand how this biosphere functions. Definitely going to give her some spores. There we go. Now I'm going to go and attempt to get some more spores right away with my little 2. In fact, I'm going to re-roll that to get a 1. Hooray! That always seems to happen. Let's try it and see what goes down. I got money to buy food if I lose some energy. Alright, we've got 1 spores. Let's drop those off. Start action. Cool. Okay, so we are kind of in between helping Riko and growing mushrooms. We kind of have a nice set of jobs that we are engaged in there. So we're going to go back. I'm going to speak to Sabine and Rabia. Hope they've patched up their differences. And then I think we'll wrap the episode up there. As you enter Rabia's office, you hear voices. Is that Sabine? You push open the door. Sleeper, what good timing. Rabia calls out as you enter. I wanted to introduce you to someone. The man is standing at the centre of the room, speaking quietly with Rabia. He turns as you come in. Meet Yannick. So this is Yannick. He is a an older gentleman with a white goatee beard, dark skin, a kind of implant on the side of his head, and really cool round sunglasses. He's wearing a pink suit with the jacket thrust up on his shoulders, a handkerchief in the pocket, all very casual, braces, a yellow striped waistcoat with a purple shirt underneath it, and then a sash round his waist. He's also got 2 thumb rings on. He looks extremely stylish. He kind of reminds me of Spike Lee, actually, in a way. Sleeper, he nods. Been hearing good things from Rabbi. He smiles an easy smile. Good to meet you, I'm going to say. So this guy's apparently a traitor who's been hooking up people with like dodgy tech. Likewise. He waves a ringed hand. Now, Rabbi, where were we? Actually, Rabbi places a hand on your shoulder. The sleeper was what I wanted to talk to you about. She doesn't spare you a look. What is going on? Well, okay then. Yannick tucks his hands into his pockets. Go on. I'd like to recommend them to your ward. A tiny pause. They have shown themselves to be a capable ally here on the spoke side, but we have more than enough to run our own territories. I hear the main block is proving more difficult. Yannick leans forward slowly. It's a mess, Rabbi. He waits, his tinted glasses shimmering despite the lack of light in the unit. I can use them, he suddenly decides. Rabia smiles. Good to hear. I can immediately... Yannick cuts her off with a raised hand. 1 second. He steps one surprisingly light step closer to you. You eager to work, sleeper? Yes. Yannick nods his head as if listening to music. Okay then. You suddenly are unsure if he's talking to you. That concludes it. Yannick pronounces... Oh, I see. That concludes it, Yannick pronounces. Sleeper can come work in the ward any times they like. You shoot Rabia a confused look. Rabia finally glances at you for a moment, but it is so fast that you almost miss it. Good. I know you'll be happy with their work, Jan. Yannick reaches out and squeezes her shoulder. Sure, Rabbi, he says. Now please, he says, turning to face you. Let us old friends get back to it. He guides Rabia away, leaving you standing alone. You look to Rabia, but she is deep in conversation, and so, stunned and confused, you leave. Interesting, we have a new drive back on in the starter section, which is expose Yannick. If Sabine is right, Yannick has been working with S and Arp behind Yatagan's back. Time to find out the truth. Okay, I'm more interested in cooking mushrooms than in growing mushrooms than doing that. But let's just have a look here. So, patrol the block. The massive block at the centre of the low end is made up of layers and layers of units. Patrolling this vertical city is a challenge. And then I need to do these to win Yannick's trust. It can't really go wrong, it can just build over time, so maybe I can just dump all my leftover dice into this. That's not going to be my priority. My priority is going to be helping Riko, because Riko's cool. Nice one. Alright, so we're going to wrap it up there. We'll just end the cycle. See if anything pops up in the morning. If you have enjoyed this video, please consider leaving me a like. It really helps the channel to grow, and I enjoy getting them. If you have any comments or questions about the game, leave me a comment in the comment section. And if you want to come over and join us on Discord, you'll find a link to the Discord in the video description. Come over, have a chat, say hi. We're discussing the games I'm playing a lot at the moment. We're discussing Citizen Sleeper and Stacklands I'm also kind of involved in, which is a nice fun one.